Okay. Hello everyone. Good day. Good day Jaguars. Good day future LPTs. Welcome to our online review program for September 2025 LET. Sir John here, and again I welcome you to our review program. Okay, so you can get your paper, your ball pen, so that you can take down notes on the concepts that we are going to talk about today. Okay, this is our first session, no? So don't worry, we'll try to make the most of it. Okay, so ngayon pa lang, dapat itodo na natin. Okay, para uh, we will make sure na talagang makukuha natin yung mataas na rating for the September 2025 LET. Okay ba? Okay. So if you're ready, please comment down there sa comment section. Okay, please comment. All right. So I think we're ready. Okay, we'll start na. No? Okay. So by the way, if you are new here, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, and please subscribe to this channel. Okay. So let's start with the first item. Item number 1. A reaction with a high activation energy is likely to have letter A very fast reaction rate, letter B, a very slow reaction rate, letter C, no reaction rate, and letter D, a spontaneous reaction rate. So the correct answer for this item is, okay, letter B, a very slow reaction rate. So let us going to explain now how we got that answer. Okay, so in the question, okay, ano ba yung pinag-usapan sa question? Okay, what is the question all about? So the question is about, okay, very good. It's about activation energy. This one. It's all about activation energy. So when we say activation energy, it is the minimum amount of energy that reacting particles must have for a reaction to occur. So kibali siya yung kailangan so that the reaction will happen, okay, in a substance. So when the activation energy is high, fewer particles have enough energy to overcome the energy barrier. As a result for that, collisions are less effective and the reaction proceeds slowly. That's why our answer is letter B. So, bakit mali si letter A? Okay, bakit mali si letter A? So, si letter A is a very fast reaction rate. That's incorrect. Okay, since a high activation energy means fewer particles can react. So the rate is slow, not fast. So high activation energy, okay? So slow reaction rate. So hindi fast. Okay. So letter C is also incorrect. Okay, no reaction rate. Now, unless the activation energy is infinite or no energy is provided, some particles may still react. So the rate is low but not zero. Okay, that's why wrong din si letter C. Okay, si letter A din. How about letter D? A spontaneous reaction rate. Okay, take note, class, no, that spontaneity depends on thermodynamic factor. Okay, that is according to the Gibbs free energy, okay, principle, not just activation energy. So a reaction can be spontaneous but still slow if the activation energy is high. That's why it gives us the answer letter B. Okay, so let's proceed to the next number. Number 2. The process of water moving across a semi-permeable membrane is called A. Osmosis, B. Diffusion, C. Active transport, or letter D. Endocytosis. Okay, so this is very easy. The answer is, okay, very good. The answer is osmosis. Let's go back to the question. Okay, ano yung clue word natin? What's the clue word? Okay, very good. The semi-permeable membrane. Okay. So, by the way, what is osmosis? What is osmosis? Okay. When we say osmosis, it is the movement of water molecules across a semi-permeable membrane from an area of lower solute concentration to an area of higher solute concentration. And I assume no that you have kanang already visualized, okay, um, the a certain setup, okay, with regards to osmosis. I think talagang maraming beses natin to na-meet when we had our, bachelor's degree. Okay? So, ang dapat nating tandaan when we say osmosis is ito, semi-permeable membrane. So, if you can see during your board exam, no, that the question states semi-permeable membrane. Most likely, that's osmosis. Okay. So, bakit hindi tama yung ibang choices? Okay, let's explain the other choices. Letter B, diffusion. O ano yung diffusion? When we say diffusion, it is the general movement of molecules. Okay, take note ha, general movement of molecules, not just water. Okay, from high to low concentration without membrane requirement. Okay, osmosis is a special case of diffusion involving water and a membrane. So, kumbaga, si osmosis, it's somewhat the same with diffusion. However, si osmosis, meron siyang semi-permeable membrane. And si diffusion din, okay? So diffusion is the movement of molecules. Again, si diffusion is the movement of molecules from high to low concentration. Okay, so wrong si diffusion. Next, si letter C. Letter C is active transport. Okay, active transport moves solute. Okay, take note ha. When we say active transport, yung mag-move is solute, hindi water. Okay, against a concentration gradient. So, dahil active siya, so that means there's an energy needed. Okay, so what's the energy currency of the cell? We have ATP. Okay, adenosine triphosphate. Okay, so active transport is wrong for this item. Next, endocytosis. Okay, endocytosis. It is a form of bulk transport, okay, where a cell engulfs substance into a vesicle. So, yung clue word natin pag sinabing endocytosis, bulk transport. Okay? Bulk transport. Okay? So, not the passive movement of water. Endocytosis is not the passive movement of water. So, that's why this is also wrong. Letter D is also wrong. So our correct answer is letter A, osmosis. Okay, next, number 3. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, as an object approaches the speed of light, its A, mass decreases, B, time moves faster, C, length contracts, or D, energy decreases. Okay, so the correct answer for this is, okay, letter C, length contracts. So let's talk about, okay, Einstein's theory of relativity. Okay, because that's what the question is all about. Now, are you familiar with Einstein's special theory of relativity? Are you familiar with that? Okay, so listen. According to Einstein's special theory of relativity, several counterintuitive effects occur as an object move at a speed approaching the speed of light. Okay, so pag ang isang bagay, okay, nag-move siya approaching at a speed of light, there are certain changes or phenomenon that happens. And one of that is the length contraction. Okay, one of that is length contraction. So in the direction of motion, an object appears shorter. So in other words, it contracts to an external observer. So let's say, for example, you are standing outside and then you see something, okay, moving at the speed of light. So according to the Einstein's theory of relativity, okay, you will perceive it as short. Okay, shorter siya kaysa sa kanyang original na size. Okay, it contracts. Okay, this effect becomes significant only at relativistic speeds. Okay, so meaning a large fraction of the speed of light. Okay, kung kusog na jud siya sa pagdagan. Okay, so in our session, okay, in physics, we'll try to dig deeper about the Einstein's theory of relativity. Okay, so that's why our answer is length contracts. Okay, so letter A. Bakit mali si letter A? Okay, take note. As speed increases, the relativistic mass increases, not decreases. Okay, that is according to Einstein's theory of relativity. So pag bilis yung pagtakbo, okay, or motion, okay, so the relativistic mass increases as well, not decreases. Okay, so this one is incorrect. Letter A is incorrect. Okay, in fact, no, it approaches infinity as the object nears the speed of light. Okay, yung mass niya will approach infinity. Okay, pag nakarating na siya sa the speed of light. Letter B, time moves faster. Okay, is that correct? Okay, that is actually opposite of what happens. According to relativity, time dilates. Okay, so anong ibig sabihin ng time dilates? Okay, very good. It slows down. Okay, so Einstein's theory of relativity states that when an object moves at the speed of light, time dilates or slows down. Okay, so time moves slower, not faster, from the perspective of the stationary observer. Okay, so that means if you ride on, a ship, okay, and that ship will move at the speed of light, okay, your time there is much slower than the time sa kanang those person outside the ship or in the you know just here sa surface sa earth. Okay, so next, so see, letter B is wrong. Okay, next is letter D, energy decreases. Okay, obviously this is incorrect. Okay, as the speed increases, so does the kinetic energy of the object. Okay, so when we say kinetic energy, that is the energy in motion. Okay, so pag ano, pag mabilis yung motion, that means there's a high energy. Okay, so that is very wrong. Near light speed, the energy increases dramatically. Okay, how much more kung speed of light, very fast na siya kayo, so the energy is very high as well. So letter D is incorrect. Okay, next. Number 4, the energy stored in an object due to its position above the ground is called A. Kinetic energy, B. Gravitational potential energy, C. Thermal energy, D. Chemical energy. Okay, the answer for this is okay, the answer is letter B. Gravitational potential energy. So what's the clue term na makikita natin sa question? Okay, we have energy stored. Okay, position. Okay, due to its position. Energy stored in an object due to its position. Okay, so kumbaga, if we are going to visualize that, it is a thing who just stays, okay, on the surface. So wala siya naglihok, hindi siya gumagalaw. Okay, so the correct answer for that is gravitational potential energy. Okay, the gravitational potential energy is the energy an object possesses, okay, due to its position in the gravitational field, typically above the ground. Okay, the formula for gravitational potential energy is we have um, mass times acceleration due to gravity times height. Okay, so that's the formula. So with that equation, no, we can realize that the higher an object is above the ground, the more gravitational potential energy it has. Okay? Directly proportional man siya. Okay? So, take note of that. The higher an object above the ground, the more gravitational potential energy it has. And that's why if you fall, no, okay, if you are at the topmost, okay, of a hill or a building, you can feel na parang there's something na mag-pull sa'yo towards the ground. Mulili kag taas nga building. If you will look at the surface, yung below the building, you can feel that there's something na parang mag-pull sa'yo downward. Okay, that's because the higher an object above the ground, okay, the more gravitational potential energy it has. Okay, bakit mali si letter A? Kinetic energy is the energy of motion, not position. Okay, take note ha, si kinetic energy of motion siya. Okay, not of position. An object has kinetic energy when it is moving, not when it was simply elevated. So, option A is wrong. Next, option C, thermal energy. So thermal energy is related to the internal motion of particles or heat, not the object's position in space. So see, option C, it has nothing to do with the question. Okay, the question is all about position, okay, type of energy. Okay, so see, thermal energy is very far. Okay, next is letter D, chemical energy. Okay, ni samot. Okay, lalo na hindi siya close sa question. Okay, chemical energy is stored in chemical bonds within substance and is released during chemical reactions, not due to elevation or position. Okay, so it has nothing to do with the position. So this is wrong. Okay, so we're down to number 5. Okay, number 5. What is the principle behind hydraulic systems? Letter A, Archimedes' principle. Letter B, Bernoulli's principle. Letter C, Pascal's principle. Or letter D, Newton's third law of motion. Okay, so if you are not familiar with this principles, no, na nasa choices, of course, mapapariwara ka talaga sa pagsagot. Okay? So the answer for item number 5 is letter C. Okay, Pascal's principle. So ano ba yung Pascal's principle? What is Pascal's principle? So Pascal's principle states that when pressure is applied to a confined fluid, the pressure change is transmitted equally and undiminished throughout the fluid. Okay, so by the way, are you okay familiar with hydraulic systems? Okay, siguro nakakita na ta og hydraulic press, no? I'm sorry, balik ta, di na mo balik. Wait lang ha, I'll try to move backward. Okay, so I think I can't move it backward, no? All right, so we'll just uh, you know go back to that no on our next session since I cannot move the slide backward. Okay, but for the hydraulic system, take note that the answer for that is Pascal's principle. Okay, Pascal's principle. All right, so next item, number 6. Which scientist is credited with with discovering the law of electromagnetism that relates electric current to magnetic field? The answer for that is Michael Faraday. Okay, so si Michael Faraday is credited with discovering electromagnetic induction, which is the process by which a changing magnetic field induces an electric current in a conductor. So he demonstrated that electric current can generate a magnetic field and vice versa. That's the foundation concept of electromagnetism. So sino yung contributor? Si Michael Faraday. Okay, some people pronounce that as Faraday. Pero sa board exam, sa LET, okay, it's not all about pronunciation. It's about how far you know the concept. Okay? So, yes, that's Michael Faraday. Okay, his work actually laid the the groundwork of the Faraday's law, okay, a key part of electromagnetism. So, let's talk about the other options, no? Isaac Newton. So, asa man sikat si Isaac Newton? What's the prominent work of Isaac Newton? Okay, Newton is known for his laws of motion and universal gravitation, not electromagnetism. Okay, laws of motion, yung law of inertia, law of acceleration, yun, kay Isaac Newton. Next is James Maxwell. Okay, so Maxwell formulated the Maxwell's equation. Okay, although uh, it's somehow related no to electricity and magnetism. Okay, because Maxwell's equation okay mathematically unified the electricity and magnetism. Okay, however, Faraday's experiment discoveries okay, I mean Faraday's experimental discoveries came first, okay, and formed the basis of Maxwell's work. So, yung pool, anong tawag doon, yung source talaga, yung origin talaga ng idea is kay Michael Faraday. Kumbaga, gi-develop lang siya ni James Maxwell. Next, letter D. So, wrong si, wait lang ha, mali si letter A, mali si letter C, and letter D. So, Nikola Tesla. Are you familiar with Nikola Tesla? Okay. So, um, pag sinabi nating Nikola Tesla, okay, yung tawag doon, yung clue natin is alternating current. Okay, AC systems. Okay, Tesla is contributed significantly to alternating current systems and invented many electrical devices. But he did not discover the fundamental relationship between the current and magnetic fields. Again, for Nikola Tesla, AC, alternating current. Okay, so we're done with item number 6. Now let's proceed to number 7. I'm quite distracted with, this one here sa baba. Let's just focus on the question, no? Okay, the question is, the photoelectric effect demonstrates that light behaves as, okay, A, only a wave, B, only a particle, C, both wave and a particle, or D, neither a wave nor a particle. Okay, so the correct answer for this is alright, letter C, both a wave and a particle. Okay, so what is the question all about? The question is all about photoelectric effect. Okay, so what is photoelectric effect? Okay, take note. The photoelectric effect occurs when light shines on a metal surface and ejects electrons from it. Okay, so clue word, light shines on a metal surface and eject electrons. Okay, that is photoelectric effect. This phenomenon cannot be explained by wave theory alone, as it shows that light transfers energy in discrete packets known as photons, a particle-like behavior. So that's why our answer is both wave and particle, because it cannot, you know, it cannot explain or defend this phenomenon. Okay, that light shines when light shines on a metal surface, it ejects electrons. Okay, so that can be explained with both wave and a particle theory. Okay. However, light also exhibits wave-like properties such as interference and diffraction. Diba? That's the property of a wave. Interference, diffraction, we have reflection and refraction. Okay. So therefore, the photoelectric effect is a key piece of evidence of wave-particle duality. Okay, so kumbaga wave and particle, showing that light behaves as both wave and particle. It's a central concept in quantum mechanics. Okay, bakit hindi letter A? Bakit wrong si letter A? So classical wave theory could not explain, no? Why light below a certain frequency fails to eject electrons regardless of intensity. Okay, so the wave theory is actually classic, no? Classic ni siya, and it cannot explain that phenomenon, photoelectric effect. So that is basically wrong. As well as letter B. Hindi rin pwede na si letter B lang yung sagot. Okay, light wave properties such as interference patterns are also well documented. So describing it only as particle is incomplete. Okay, that's very evident mano in the behaviors of light. Okay, there are interference, uh, there are diffraction. Okay, those things that I have mentioned earlier. So we cannot disregard that. Okay, kaya hindi pwedeng si letter B lang. Okay, so dapat silang dalawa, wave and particle. Okay, samot si letter D. Okay, lalo na itong letter D, this is very wrong because it says neither wave nor particle. Okay, there's an experimental evidence no, that strongly supports that light exhibits both wave and particle characteristics. Okay, so this is wrong. Okay, next, number 8. Number 8. Okay, which phenomenon occurs when a wave bends around an obstacle or through a slit? Okay, refraction, diffraction, reflection, or dispersion. The answer is, what's the answer? The answer is diffraction. Okay, we have here the behaviors of waves. Okay, refraction, diffraction, reflection, and dispersion. So we'll talk first about diffraction. Okay, so sa question, okay, our question asks for the wave that bends, okay, through a slit. Okay, so when we say diffraction, it is the phenomenon where waves bend around the edges of an obstacle or spread out after passing through a narrow opening. Okay, so clue word natin sa diffraction is bending. Okay, bending of around the edges. Okay, so take note ha, bending around the edges as it passes through a narrow opening. Okay, so hindi lang bend, but it passes through a narrow opening. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so wave bends through a slit, that is diffraction. It occurs with all types of waves that includes sound, water, and light. Okay, especially when the obstacle or slit is about the same size as the wavelength. Talagang mag-diffract yan. Okay, diffraction demonstrate that wave can be bent and interfere. Okay, which is the key behavior distinguishing wave motion. So kumbaga, if we will try to visualize that in an illustration, okay, so let's say for example, this is the slit, and there's an narrow opening here. So when the wave, let's say for example, this is the wave that passes through an opening, so it will bend. So ganyan na yung form niya. Okay, so this is diffraction. Okay, that is diffraction. Now, why are the other options incorrect? Okay, letter A, refraction, that is incorrect. Refraction is the bending of wave as it passes from one medium into another due to the change in speed. Okay? Take note ha, baka ma-confuse kayo kasi sa word na bending. Okay? The difference between diffraction and refraction is that refraction has two mediums. Okay? Again, refraction has two mediums. Si diffraction, mayroong opening. Okay? It passes through an opening or a slit. Okay? Although pareho silang bending of light, pero the mechanism is quite different. Okay, si refraction again has two medium. Okay, and si diffraction has a slit or an opening. Okay, so there is a very famous experiment about refraction. Yung a glass of water and then you put something like a pencil or a ball pen there, and when you look at the image of the pencil or ball pen, it look like it's cut. Oh, so hindi na continuous ang image. So bakit ganon? That's because of refraction. So what are the two medium sa adto nga experiment? We have the air and the water. Okay, that is a refraction. Next is reflection. Pag sinabing reflection, yung clue word lang natin class is bounces. Okay? The bouncing back of the wave. Okay, reflection is when a wave bounces back after hitting a surface. Okay? It cannot pass through. So, example for that. Okay, very common yung mirror. Okay, plain mirror. That's why we can perceive our self, no, sa mirror because it bounces back the light. That's reflection. Next is dispersion. Dispersion is the separation of waves into components based on frequency or wavelength, like how white light splits into the colors in a prism. Okay, example, okay, actual or evident example for dispersion is the rainbow. Okay, rainbow actually happens due to total internal reflection and dispersion. Okay, so that's why. Okay, we perceive the different, shades of colors, okay, of light because of dispersion. It is being dispersed. Diba sa rainbow, na ay, what are the colors of the rainbow? We have Roy G. Biv. Okay, so that happens because of the dispersion. Okay, clue word natin, separation of waves. So A is wrong, B is also wrong, and D is also wrong. Correct answer is letter boy. Letter B. Next question, number 9. The period of a simple pendulum depends on A, its mass, B, its length, C, the angle of displacement, D, the gravitational force. The answer for this is letter B, its length. Okay, so I assume no that you are aware with what is a simple pendulum. Okay, mura na siya o ganito. There's a rod, and then there's a string, and then na ay heavy object dito. So the period of a simple pendulum depends on the length. Gaano kahaba yung string. Okay. So period of a simple pendulum. Okay, the time it takes to complete one full swing is given by the formula period equals 2 pi times square root of the quotient of the length of the pendulum and the acceleration due to gravity. So, okay, if we are going to write its formula, that is P is equal to 2 pi, okay, times the square root of the quotient of length of pendulum and acceleration due to gravity. Okay, over acceleration due to gravity. Looking at this equation, okay, nabay mass. Meron bang mass? Okay, of course, wala. Okay, so makikita natin is just length. Okay, si length and acceleration due to gravity. Okay, so meron si gravitational force, no? However, I will explain bakit hindi letter D yung sagot. Okay, so let's start with letter A, its mass. Okay, the mass does not affect the period of a simple pendulum. Whether the bob is heavy or light, the swing time remains the same. Kahit ito mabigat or hindi, okay, it does not affect the period. What affects the period is the length. Okay? So ito yung haba nito. Okay, so letter A is very wrong. Next, option C, the angle of displacement. Okay, for small angles, typically less than 15%, the angle does not significantly affect the period. For large angles, there is a minor effect, but in the ideal simple pendulum, this is neglected. So, hindi siya strong answer. Okay, length is the strongest answer. So, take note ha, in answering board exam questions, let items, no, you choose the best answer because some choices sounds correct. Okay, however, take note that in every item sa let, there is the best answer. There is a best answer. So you choose the best answer. Okay. So option C is partially correct. So this is not included as well, no? Sa ating choice, final choice, since mas pa man acceptable pa man si length. Okay, here we are sa letter D. Okay, letter D. Gravitational force. Sir, meron mang gravitational force sa equation. Bakit hindi siya? Okay, well, in fact, it is found in the equation. Okay, so while gravity, acceleration due to gravity, does affect the period, the question asked is what it depends on. Okay, and length is the primary controllable factor in typical experimental setups. So, si gravitational force is constant. Okay, constant si gravitational force. Hindi natin siya ma-manipulate. Okay, so the question is asking for what affects the period. Okay, okay, so hindi si gravitational force because this is constant. Ito yung pwede nating ma-change. Okay, next, number 10. The SI unit of electric charge is volt, coulomb, ampere, or farad. The answer is okay, coulomb. Okay, the SI unit for electric charge is coulomb. Okay, that's based on George Coulomb. Okay, one coulomb is defined as the amount of charge transported by a constant current of 1 ampere in 1 second. So mathematically, this is charge equals current times time. So the formula of this is Q is equal to charge times time. I mean current times time. So I times time. Okay. So that's the equation. Now let's explain why the other option is incorrect. So option A is volt. So what is volt? Okay, so see, volt is the SI unit for electric potential or voltage, not charge. Okay, so see, volt is for electric potential or voltage. So this is wrong. Letter C, ampere. Okay, si ampere naman is SI unit for electric current. Okay, again, ampere is electric current. So si volt is a voltage. Si coulomb is a charge. Si ampere is electric current. Okay, how about farad? The farad is the SI unit of capacitance. Okay, farad is SI unit for capacitance, which measures the capacitor's ability to store charge, not the amount of charge itself. Okay, so ganon. Farad, capacitance. Next, number 11. Item number 11. Okay. In quantum mechanics, the Schrödinger equation is used to describe A. The speed of light, B. The energy of electrons in an atom, C. The probability wave function of particles, or letter D. Nuclear fission. Okay, the answer for this is letter C, the probability wave function of particles. So you cannot answer this question if you are not aware with the Schrödinger equation. Okay, so what is that equation? Okay, the Schrödinger equation is a fundamental equation in quantum mechanics that describes how the quantum state, that's the wave function, no, of a physical system change over time. It is used to determine the probability distribution of particles' position and other properties like the momentum or the energy, providing a way to predict the likelihood of finding a particle in a particular state. So, yung tatandaan lang natin is it is used to determine the probability distribution. Okay, Schrödinger equation used to determine the probability distribution of particles. Okay, so option C is correct. Okay, the wave function generated from the Schrödinger equation describes the probability amplitude for the particle's position and behavior. Okay, bakit mali yung other options? So letter A, the speed of light. Okay, the speed of light is a constant in special relativity that is denoted with the symbol C, no? And it is unrelated to Schrödinger equation. So this is very far. This is not related to the question. Letter B, the energy of electrons in an atom. While Schrödinger equation helps calculate energy levels of electrons, it is primarily about wave function and probabilities. Okay? Again, Schrödinger equation, it's more likely about wave function and probabilities. Okay? So when you say when there's a question, no, about Schrödinger equation, you just look for the term probability and wave function. Okay? Because for sure that's the answer. Okay, so but its primary purpose is not limited to just energy. Take note of that. Okay, so this option B is also wrong. Next, letter D, nuclear fission. Okay, actually there are two, no, di ba? Nuclear fission and fusion. So let's just focus on this one, nuclear fission. Okay, the nuclear fission involves the splitting of atomic nuclei, and it is the process described by nuclear physics, not directly by the Schrödinger equation. While quantum mechanics can be applied to understand the behavior of particles, In fission, the Schrödinger equation itself does not describe this process. Okay. So, ano yung clue word natin pag nuclear fission? Splitting of atom. Nuclear fission, splitting of atom. Okay. Next, number 12. Eutrophication in water bodies is primarily caused by an excess of oxygen, nitrogen and phosphorus, carbon dioxide, or calcium. Okay, the answer is letter B, nitrogen and phosphorus. Okay, so let's talk about eutrophication because that's what the question is all about, no? So eutrophication refers to the excessive growth of algae in water bodies. Okay, so eutrophication, excessive growth of algae in water bodies. Okay, often leading to oxygen depletion and is disruption of aquatic ecosystem because the algae will consume the oxygen content sa water bodies kaya namamatay yung mga um, hayop na nandun sa tubig. Okay? Eutrophication actually is not good. It's bad. Okay? Sa water bodies. That's the excessive growth of algae. Okay? The primary cause of eutrophication is an excess of nutrients, particularly nitrogen and phosphorus. Okay? These nutrients are often introduced through agricultural runoffs, okay, sa mga fertilizer na nandun sa okay, sa farm, mo-flow siya sa sa tubig, okay, that can also lead to eutrophication. Another is the sewage. Yung mga dumi ng tao or ng mga hayop na punta doon sa tubig, it can also cause eutrophication and industrial waste. Okay, high concentrations of nitrogen and phosphorus promotes algal blooms, which when they decompose, they consume large amount of oxygen, leading to hypoxia or dead zones where aquatic life cannot survive. Because those aquatic lives there needs oxygen. So, asa na may ilahang i-take pag nahurot na? Okay? Because of the algal blooms. That's why. So, why the other options are incorrect? Okay, so si letter A, oxygen, that is incorrect. While oxygen depletion is a consequence of eutrophication. The process is primarily driven by an excess of nutrients, particularly nitrogen and phosphorus, not oxygen itself. So, okay, oxygen is the effect, no, hindi cause. Oxygen, okay, the scarcity of oxygen is the effect. So this is wrong. Letter C, carbon dioxide. Although carbon dioxide is important as well in the carbon cycle and can contribute to overall environmental issues like acidification, it does not directly cause eutrophication. It has nothing to do with eutrophication. So carbon dioxide is different issue. Next is calcium. So calcium is not typically a contributing factor to eutrophication. It may affect the hardness of water, but it is not a key driver of the algal bloom. So calcium is also a different issue. Okay, different topic concept. So the answer is letter B, nitrogen and phosphorus. Okay, next, number 13. Which international agreement focuses on reducing greenhouse gas emissions to mitigate climate change? Okay. A. Kyoto Protocol. B. Montreal Protocol. C. Basel Convention. Or D. Rotterdam Convention. Okay. So, if you are not aware, here we are now with this type of questions. If talagang wala tayong alam, talagang palakasan na lang kay Lord. Palakasan na lang kay Lord. Okay, if you don't know the the main concept, well, of course, you cannot answer the question. Now let's talk about those concepts para we were able to answer the question. The answer actually is Kyoto Protocol. Okay, the Kyoto Protocol is an international treaty that commits participating countries to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in order to combat climate change. So pag sinabing Kyoto Protocol, that is for greenhouse gas emissions. Okay? Kyoto Protocol, greenhouse gas emissions. Okay, it was adopted in 1997 and entered into force in 2005. Okay, the agreement set binding targets for developed countries to reduce their emissions of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases, which are primarily contributors of global warming. So, yung goal talaga niya is to reduce the greenhouse gas emission. That's why our answer is letter A. So, bakit mali si letter B? Let's talk about the other options, no, kay baka sa actual board exam, kay yung the options naman, other options naman yung tinatanong. So what is Montreal Protocol? Okay, the Montreal Protocol is an international agreement aimed to protecting the ozone layer. Okay, si Montreal Protocol for ozone layer, si Kyoto Protocol for greenhouse gas emissions. Okay, so ozone layer by phasing out the use of ozone depleting substances. Okay, what are those substances? We have the CFCs, okay, chlorofluorocarbons. Okay, it is not focused on reducing greenhouse gases, but on the other hand, it is focused on, ozone layer, protecting the ozone layer. Next is the Basel Convention. Okay, the Basel Convention deals with the regulation of the transboundary movement of hazardous waste and their disposals. So si Basel Convention, okay, Basel. Pag sinabing Basel, okay, that's for disposal. Okay, movement of hazardous waste. Okay, transboundary movement of hazardous waste. Okay, it has nothing to do with climate change or greenhouse gas emissions. Okay, as it focuses on disposals of hazardous waste. Okay, that is wrong as well. B is wrong. C is wrong. Next, letter D, Rotterdam Convention. Okay, ano naman yung Rotterdam Convention? The Rotterdam Convention regulates the international trade of certain hazardous chemicals to promote responsible trade and protect human health and environment. But it does not focus on climate change or greenhouse gases. So si Rotterdam, yung clue word natin is hazardous chemical and responsible trade. Okay? Clue word natin for Rotterdam Convention, hazardous chemicals, okay, and promote responsible trade. Okay, so that's for item 30. Next question. The primary function of wetlands in an ecosystem is A. Producing oxygen, B. Carbon fixation, C. Water filtration, and D. Flood control. I mean C. Water filtration and flood control, or letter D. Erosion. Okay, what's the answer? The answer is letter C. Water filtration and flood control. So let's talk about wetlands, okay, because that's what the question is all about. Wetlands play a critical role in ecosystem, primarily by providing water filtration and flood control. Okay, let's try to explain now how does that came to be. Okay, water filtration. For water filtration, wetlands act as a natural filters. Okay, so see wetlands, it will act as natural filters, trapping the pollutants, sediments, and excess nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus, providing a water quality before it reaches the rivers, lakes, and other water bodies. That's why wetlands basa-basa siya because it traps, okay? It traps the water. Next is flood control. Okay, flood control. Wetlands absorb excess water during heavy rains, reducing the risk of flooding in surrounding areas by acting like the sponges and slowly releasing the water over time. So, di ba, uh, but when we use sponge or when we are washing dishes, okay, so unsa may characteristics sa sponge? Okay, what's the characteristic of sponge? Okay, it stores water. Okay, it stores water. When you press it, the water will flow out from it. Okay, so wetland is just like that. It can hold water. Okay, and it will slowly release those water over time. Okay, so that is why our answer is letter C. So, bakit mali si letter A, B, and D? Okay, producing oxygen. Letter A, producing oxygen. So, while wetlands do produce oxygen, this is not their primary function. Okay, the most significant contribution of wetlands are water filtration and flood control, as what I have mentioned earlier, no? So, this option is incorrect. Okay, option B, carbon fixation. Okay. Wetlands do play a role in carbon sequestration, okay, where they store carbons in plants and soil. But water filtration and flood control are still more critical for wetland ecosystem. So, kumbaga, mas best answer si water filtration and flood control kaysa kay carbon fixation. So, this is wrong. Next, erosion. Okay, wetlands help prevent erosion, not cause it. Okay, by stabilizing the soil with plant roots and absorbing wave energy, they reduce soil loss and protect shorelines from erosion. Okay, so again, the wetlands prevent erosion. Okay, the question is asking man, okay, sa function. Okay? Hindi sa ano effect. Okay? Wetlands help prevent erosion. This one is incorrect. So our answer is letter C. Next, number 15. Okay. Which biome is known for having permafrost? Okay. Desert, tundra, taiga, or grassland? The answer is, what's the answer? Tundra. Okay, so let's talk about biome. Okay, what is biome? Okay, a biome is a large naturally occurring community of flora and fauna occupying a major habitat. Okay, so that is the biome. Kumbaga, that's the larger system, no? Okay, where it shows the naturally occurring community of animals and plants na nandun. Okay, so let's talk about the correct answer, the tundra. Okay, the tundra biome is characterized by its cold climate. Okay, clue word natin for tundra biome is cold climate or permafrost. Okay, so since permafrost man, frost, tugnaw gyud na siya, maginaw gyud na. Okay, short growing seasons and the presence of permafrost, which is permanently frozen ground beneath the surface. Okay, permafrost prevent the growth of deep-rooted plants and lead to unique vegetation such as mosses, lichens, and low shrubs. So, kung mo punta ta, if we'll go to tundra, okay, biome, we cannot see tall trees there, okay, or plants na mahaba yung mga roots, okay, because it's not ideal there. So, ano yung makikita natin doon? Mosses, lichens, and mga shrubs. Okay, the tundra is typically found in polar regions. Example, Arctic tundra. Okay, and at the higher altitudes, alpine tundra. Okay, so why are the other options incorrect? Okay, letter A, desert. I know you are familiar with desert, no? Nabay permafrost sa desert? Meron bang frost, frosting? Okay, meron bang permafrost sa desert? Of course, wala. Okay, very dry dito. Okay, deserts are arid biomes with low precipitation, but they are not known for having permafrost. Deserts have sandy or rocky soils and the temperatures can vary widely, but they do not feature permanent frozen ground. Okay, walay frozen ground dito. Option A is wrong, incorrect. Next, option C, taiga. The taiga or boreal forest is characterized by cold winters and coniferous trees. Okay, so before yung clue word ko, pag taiga is coniferous trees or cold winters. Okay, cold winters, coniferous trees. Pag taiga, cold winters, coniferous trees. Okay, but it does not have the permafrost as its defining feature. Okay, walang permafrost sa taiga. Nasaan si permafrost? Nasa tundra. Okay. While permafrost can be present in some northern regions of the taiga, it is not a defining characteristic of the biome. That's why that can't be our answer. Next is letter D, the grassland. Okay. So si grassland, okay, are characterized by wide open spaces with grasses as the dominant vegetation. Okay, ang dali lang ang masagutan si grassland. Okay, kay ano man. Na naman sa iyahang keyword, grassland, grass, okay, wide open spaces. Okay, they can be found in both temperate and tropical regions, but they do not have permafrost. Okay, grassland typically have a moderate climate and do not experience permanent freezing of the ground. So this one is also incorrect. The answer is tundra. Next, okay, number 16. The greatest contributor to ocean acidification is A. Increased salinity. B. Increased levels of carbon dioxide. C. Increased ocean temperatures. Or D. Increased fish populations. Okay, the answer is, what's the answer? Okay, increased level of carbon dioxide. Okay, so what's the question all about? Okay, contributor to acidification, ocean acidification. So, what is ocean acidification? What causes it to happen? Okay, ocean acidification is primarily caused by increased level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So again, what causes ocean acidification? Carbon dioxide, okay, sa atmosphere. Okay, when carbon dioxide is absorbed by the seawater, it reacts with water to form carbonic acid, which dissociates into hydrogen ions and bicarbonate ions. And this increase in hydrogen ions can lead to a decrease in the pH of the ocean, making it more acidic. Mahimong mas acidic ang ocean because of those reaction sa carbon dioxide with the seawater. The rise in carbon dioxide levels is mainly due to human activities such as burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, industrial processes, because trees, okay, actually is a very good ano kanang consumer of carbon dioxide. So pag naputol tayo ng kahoy, tapos nauubos yung kahoy, okay, most likely it can cause ocean acidification. Okay, wala na may mag-consume. Wala nang mag-consume sa carbon dioxide. That's our waste. Okay, carbon dioxide. So why are the other options incorrect? Letter A, increased salinity. Okay, pag sinabi natin salinity, it refers to the salt content in the seawater. Okay, while salinity level can influence ocean chemistry and biology, they are not the primary cause of ocean acidification. Okay, the main driver is the absorption of carbon dioxide. Okay, carbon dioxide talaga. Okay, option A is incorrect. Option C, decreased ocean temperature. Does it really affect? Okay, so decreased temperatures does not directly cause ocean acidification. In fact, colder waters can absorb more carbon dioxide than warmer water bodies. But it is the increased concentration of carbon dioxide, not the temperature change, that primarily drives ocean acidification. So option C is still incorrect. Next, letter D, decreased fish populations. While ocean acidification does not negatively affect marine life, okay, especially species that rely on calcium bicarbonates for their shells and skeletons, okay, decreased fish populations are a consequence of acidification rather than a cause. Okay, so kumbaga, si option D, that is the effect, okay, of ocean acidification, and we are looking for the contributor. Okay, so of course, that's not the correct answer. So the answer is letter B. Next item. Okay, number 17. In ecological succession, the first species to colonize a barren area is known as a keystone species, a pioneer species, a dominant species, or a climax species. The answer is okay, pioneer species. So, what's our clue word? O, dito, first species. Pag sinabi nating first, that's pioneer. Okay, so pioneer species are the first organisms to colonize an area during primary succession, okay, which occurs in environments that were previously barren. Okay, or example, after volcanic eruption or glacier retreat. Okay, so these species are typically hardy and can withstand harsh conditions. Example of that species are lichens, mosses. Okay, and other types of grasses, mostly mga grasses. Okay, the pioneer species help prepare the environment for the other species by breaking down rocks into soil, which allows for the establishment of more complex plants and animals over time. So, kumbaga, they are the first habitants on the area. Okay? So, ganun. So, let's talk about the other options. Okay, keystone species. So, ano naman si keystone species? Okay, so a keystone species is one that has disproportionately large impact on its ecosystem relative to its abundance or biomass. Okay, so okay, it has disproportionality large impact on ecosystem relative to its abundance. Okay, these species help maintain the structure and diversity of an ecosystem, but are not necessarily the first to colonize the barren area. So, kumbaga, from the word keystone, they have the critical role in the balance of ecosystems. So, sila tig control sa population sa other species. Okay, they are the keystone species. Okay, they are the regulator. Okay, tig balance. Next is letter C. Option A is wrong. Letter C is dominant species. Okay, from the word itself, dominant, they are those that are most abundant. Sila yung pinaka marami, okay, sa isang lugar, or have the most significant influence on the structure of ecosystem. Okay, but they typically appear later in the succession after the pioneer species have altered the environment. Okay, dominant species. Like us, we are dominant species. Next is climax species. Ano naman yung climax species? Okay, so climax. Ano yung climax? Diba? That's the thrilling. Okay? So climax species are the final stable species that dominates an ecosystem during the secondary succession or at the end of the successional sequence. These species are adapted to the fully developed ecosystem but are not the first to colonize barren areas. So kumbaga sila yung uh, succession, okay, sa first inhabitants. Okay, so they are the final stable species that dominate an ecosystem during the second succession. Okay, I hope that's clear, no? Okay, the correct answer for item number 17 is letter B. Next, 18. Which cycle describes the movement of water between the Earth's surface and the atmosphere? Okay, which cycle describes the movement of water between the Earth's surface and the atmosphere? Okay, carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, water cycle, oxygen cycle. Very obvious. The answer is, okay, water cycle. Okay, clue natin sa question is movement of water. I know that all of you are familiar with water cycle. That's otherwise known as hydrologic cycle. It describes the continuous movement of water within the Earth's atmosphere and the surface. So surface sa Earth, it will vaporize, condensation will happen, it will precipitate, and the cycle will go on and on. Okay, this cycle includes the process such as evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and infiltration. So water evaporates from the ocean, lakes, and rivers into the atmosphere. Okay, it will soon be condensed, or it will condenses to form clouds, and then it will fall back to the Earth's surface as precipitation. Okay, types of precipitation, we have rain, snow. Okay, this cycle is essential for distributing fresh water across the planet. So why are the other options incorrect? Okay, let's go first with option A. Okay, carbon cycle. So the carbon cycle refers to the movement of carbon through the environment, including the process such as photosynthesis, respiration, decay, and fossil fuel combustion. It does not describe the movement of water. May carbon gani siya, no? Carbon cycle. Okay, we'll talk further about the other, cycle sa other sessions natin because we still have a lot of items to discuss. We'll just have narrow discussion, no? At least we can defend why we won't answer that option. Okay? So carbon cycle is incorrect. Next is nitrogen cycle. Okay, the nitrogen cycle involves the movement of nitrogen through the ecosystem. Okay, including the process like, okay, nitrogen fixation, nitrification, ano pa yon? We have denitrification and ammonification. Okay, it does not deal with the movement of water. So this is also incorrect. And finally, option D, oxygen cycle. Okay, the oxygen cycle involves the movement of oxygen between the atmosphere, organisms, and the Earth's surface. While water is essential for life, the oxygen cycle especially refers to oxygen, not water. Okay, so kumbaga, it's about respiration, see option D. So that's it. The answer is letter C. Okay, next. All right, number 19. Okay, deforestation is most directly responsible for the increase in which greenhouse gas? Okay. So, ano yung mag-increase pag may deforestation? Oxygen, excuse me, oxygen, methane, carbon dioxide, or nitrogen? The answer is, okay, obviously, carbon dioxide. Okay, clue word, deforestation. Okay, so pagputol ng kahoy. Okay, it leads to an increase in carbon dioxide because trees and other vegetations acts as the carbon sinks. They absorb carbon dioxide, okay, from the atmosphere during photosynthesis. Okay, when forests are cleared, not only is this carbon dioxide absorbing capacity reduced, but the carbon stored in the trees is often released into the atmosphere during burning or decomposition. This process contributes significantly to the increase of carbon dioxide because mostly every living organism is made of carbon. So, pag na-decompose, pag na-burn, okay, carbon dioxide ang labas. Okay? Which is a major greenhouse gas responsible for global warming and climate change. That's why we must love to plant trees. Plant more trees. Okay. Why are the other options are incorrect? Okay, option A is incorrect. So, lisod pod og ano no, mag-increase si oxygen pag nag-deforestation tayo. That's very wrong. That's the other way. So, while trees produces oxygen through photosynthesis, deforestation does not directly increase oxygen levels. In fact, the loss of forests reduces the overall oxygen output. Okay, but the key issue is deforestation. Okay, that's why option A is wrong. Methane. Okay, CH4. Okay, methane is a potential greenhouse gas that primarily comes from agriculture, landfills, and wetlands rather than from deforestation. Okay, while methane is also a greenhouse gas, it is not directly linked to the process of deforestation. We're looking for answer related to deforestation. Next, nitrogen. So, si nitrogen, okay, is not a greenhouse gas. Okay, and deforestation does not significantly affect its levels in the atmosphere. Nitrogen is essential for plants' growth. Okay, but its role in climate change is not as a greenhouse gas. Okay, so that's still wrong. So we're down to item number 20. Okay, question, the process by which bacteria convert nitrogen gas into ammonia in the soil is called denitrification, nitrogen fixation, nitrification, and ammonification. Okay, so this problem, okay, question, no, is all about nitrogen cycle. Okay, so the question asked us, no, okay, which the process daw by which bacteria converts nitrogen gas into ammonia. So from nitrogen gas to ammonia. Okay. So the answer is nitrogen fixation. Now let's talk about nitrogen fixation. So nitrogen fixation is the process by which bacteria converts nitrogen gas from atmosphere into ammonia or ammonium ions. Take note ha, finished product of nitrogen fixation is ammonia or ammonium ion, that is NH4. Okay, NH4. Okay, in the soil, of course. This is crucial step in the nitrogen cycle because most plants cannot use nitrogen gas directly. Okay, this is complex element man. So, dili siya ma-take, okay, sa plants directly sa atmosphere. That's why dapat i-convert pa siya, okay, to NH4 in a process called nitrogen fixation. Okay, nitrogen-fixing bacteria such as those found in the roots, okay, noodles of leguminous plants like peas, okay, beans ng mga mani. Okay, they play an essential role in making nitrogen available to plants. Okay, so yung i-take note lang natin when you say nitrogen fixation, okay, it converts, okay, nitrogen gas to ammonia. Okay, let's talk about denitrification. So, ano naman si denitrification? So, that is the process where bacteria converts nitrate or NO3 back into nitrogen gas. Okay, so kini, ang iyahang end product is nitrogen gas. Okay, nitrogen gas or nitrous oxide. Okay, nitrogen gas or nitrous oxide, N2O. Okay, nitrous oxide, dinitrogen monoxide. Okay, effectively removing the nitrogen from the soil. This is the opposite of nitrogen fixation. Okay, so this is wrong. Okay, option C, also wrong, nitrification. So, pag sinabi nating nitrification, that is the process by which nitrifying bacteria converts ammonia or ammonium ion into nitrates. Okay, so, ano yung finished product niya? Nitrates. Okay, so from NH3 or NH4, si ammonia or ammonium ion, i-convert niya into nitrates. That's NO3. Okay? Charged ion na siya. Okay, ion siya. Alright, which can be absorbed by plants. This process is a part of nitrogen cycle but does not involve in the conversion of nitrogen gas into ammonia. Okay, next is ammonification. So for ammonification, it refers to the process where organic nitrogen from dead plants and animals is converted to ammonia, okay, or ammonium ion, okay, by decomposers such as bacteria and fungi. Okay, this process is different from nitrogen fixation as it deals with organic nitrogen rather than nitrogen gas. Okay, because you might be confused, no? Mga NH3 o NH4, iyahang i-convert, however, lahi man. Okay, so it deals with organic nitrogen rather than nitrogen gas. Okay, so nitrogen nga, naa sa surface. Okay, so NH3. Okay, so that's it, no? The answer is nitrogen fixation. Okay, so we'll stop at item number 25. Okay, because we'll have a break, no? We'll just have a separate session for the other items. Okay, item number 21. The Hubble Space Telescope orbits, okay, the Moon, the Mars, Earth, or Jupiter. The answer is, okay, the answer is Earth. Okay, so the Hubble Space Telescope orbits the Earth. It is a space-based observatory launched in 1990 by NASA and the European Space Agency, okay, or ESA. It orbits the Earth at an altitude about 547 kilometers. That is 340 miles. And this allows it to observe distant stars, galaxies, and other cosmic phenomena without the interference of the Earth's atmosphere dahil nasa labas siya. Okay, providing clearer and more detailed images. Okay, so nara siya sa Earth. Okay. Next is, okay, the moon. Bakit mali si moon? Okay, the Hubble Space Telescope does not orbit the moon. Okay, while the moon is in Earth's orbit, Hubble is positioned much farther from the Earth's surface in low Earth orbit. Okay, so hindi sa moon. Okay? Mali si letter A. Okay? Mali din si letter B, Mars. Okay, and mali si Jupiter. Okay, next. Number 22. The energy produced by the sun comes from, okay, yung energy na i-release ng sun. Okay, it comes from chemical reactions, nuclear fusion, nuclear fission, or combustion. What's the answer? Okay, the answer for this is, okay, nuclear fusion. Okay, the energy of the sun, okay, comes from the nuclear fusion. Okay, in the core of the sun, hydrogen atoms combined or fuse under the immense pressure and temperature to form helium, okay, releasing enormous amount of energy in the form of light and heat. Okay, that's what we feel, no? Here's our Earth's surface. It's the process of nuclear fusion. Okay, this is responsible for the sun's immense energy output. Okay, why are the other options incorrect? Okay, so option A, okay, take note that the energy from the sun is not produced by chemical reactions. Chemical reactions involves the rearrangement of atom. Pag sinabi nating chemical reaction, there's a rearrangement of atom. But the energy produced by the sun comes from the fusion of atomic nuclei, hindi rearrangement of atoms. Okay? Which is much more powerful. Okay, that's why its output is immensely great, no? So option A is incorrect. Okay, option C also incorrect. Okay, so si nuclear fission, I think we have mentioned it earlier, no? So si nuclear fission is the splitting of large atomic nuclei, okay, like uranium into small parts, releasing energy. Okay, so this is how nuclear reactors work. Okay, on Earth, the sun's energy is produced by the opposite process, the nuclear fusion. Okay, most likely, si nuclear fission applied siya sa mga bomb, nuclear bombs. Okay, so option C is incorrect. Letter D, combustion. Okay, combustion is a chemical reaction between oxygen and a fuel that releases energy. Baka combustion yung isagot nyo ha, because there's a burning feature sa sun. Okay, so that's incorrect. When we say combustion, that's reaction between oxygen. But there's an oxygen. Pero sa case sa sun, wala. Okay, while the sun produces heat and light, this is not due to combustion. It's the result from much more energetic process known as the nuclear fusion. Option D is incorrect. Okay, number 23. Comets are mostly made of, okay, rock, ice and dust, metal, or gas. The answer is, okay, ice and dust. Take note, pag sinabing comets, ice and dust. Okay, comets are mostly made up of ice and dust. They are often described as the dirty snowballs because they contain mixture of frozen waters, carbon dioxide, methane, ammonia, and dust particles. Okay, that's very dangerous for human. Okay, when a comet gets close to the sun, the heat causes ice to vaporize, okay, creating a glowing coma and a tail of gas and dust particles that points away from the sun. Okay, that's why when we perceive comet in our perspective here sa Earth, okay, mopas siya sa atong solar system. Okay, there's actually a very bright tail. Okay, mo na vaporize nga ice. Okay, because comets are made of, ice and dust. Okay, why are the other options incorrect? So rock. Okay, while some comets may contain small amount of rocks, but their composition is primarily made of ice and dust. Okay, dili rock, hindi rock. The rock present in comets is usually in the form of dust particles, not solid. So if a comet may contain rock, it is not solid. Kuan siya kanang pino. Okay, so dust particles. So, okay, wrong. See option A. So option B, metal. Comets does not contain significant amount of metal actually. The composition of comet is mostly volatile compounds such as water, carbon dioxide, and other gases. Okay, the ones that I've mentioned earlier rather than metals. Okay, walay metal sa comet ha. Okay, next, gas. Okay, so comets contain gas like water vapor, okay, and carbon dioxide when they approach the sun. But their solid nucleus is primarily composed of ice and dust. Okay? So kanos ara ma-form si gas og okay, maduol siya pag mapapalapit siya sa okay, sun or mga stars, mga hot kanang heavenly bodies. The gas is released when the ice in the comet vaporizes. Okay, so the answer is ice and dust. Okay, we are down to item number 24. Okay, which unit is used to measure electric current? Okay, so, okay, for electric current, that is ampere. Okay, the unit used to measure electric current is ampere. And ampere is defined now as the flow of 1 coulomb of charge per second. It is one of the basic unit of in the international system of units. Okay, and is used to quantify the rate of flow of the electric charge in a circuit. Okay, so hindi letter A because joule is the unit for ano? Joule is the unit for energy or work. Okay, hindi current. Okay, it measures the amount of transferred work, transferred energy or work done when a force is applied over a distance. Now, how about watt? Okay, so si watt, that is the unit for power. Okay, that's a unit for power. Okay, which is the rate at which energy is used or produced. Okay, si ohm. Ano naman si ohm? That is the SI unit for electrical resistance. Okay, not current. Okay, so the answer is letter D, ampere. Okay, number 25. Okay, we are down to the last okay item now for this session. We'll divide this into two because it's already 1 hour and 30 minutes na since we started. And, I think some of you will go to uh, have their dinner or sana pa may buhaton. So let's just stop here and we'll have another session for the continuation okay of our rationalization. So item number 25, the question is the law that states that energy cannot be created or destroyed is known as law of gravity, law of conservation of mass, law of conservation of energy, or Newton's third law of motion. The answer is law of conservation of energy. Okay, so clue word natin is energy cannot be created or destroyed. So meaning, nandun siya forever. Okay, conservation of energy. Sana all nandun forever. Okay, the law of conservation of energy states that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed from one form to another. Okay, however, the energy is still there. The amount of energy is still the same. This is fundamental principle in the physics. Okay, it implies that the total amount of energy in an isolated system remains constant, even if it changes its form. Maybe it's kinetic to potential, or mechanical, or thermal, as long as it's confined. Okay, walay maka-escape. Okay, its energy will be conserved. That is the law of conservation of energy. Now let's talk about law of gravity. Okay, which is not our correct answer in this item, no? But we are going to talk about them so that we'll be aware kung ano sila. Okay, the law of gravity formulated by Isaac Newton describes that the force of attraction between two masses. Okay, it describes the force of attraction between two masses. Okay, it is not related to conservation of energy rather than the gravitational force between the objects. Okay, so that is law of gravity. How about law of conservation of mass? So pag si law of conservation of energy, so nagpabilin or constant si energy, pag sinabi nating law of conservation of mass, na-conserve si mass. Okay, it states that the mass cannot be created or destroyed in a chemical reaction. Okay, it's a similar concept, no, with the option C. However, they are different in such a way nga ang isa mass, ang isa energy. Okay, so that's law of conservation of energy. Next is Newton's third law of motion. Okay, law of interaction. Okay, it states that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, this law deals with the forces of interaction between objects, not the conservation of energy. Okay, so this is also incorrect. So our correct answer is the law of conservation of energy. All right, so we're done with our first session, no, of rationalization. I hope that you have learned something. So if you have your thoughts there, if you have concerns, queries, please do not hesitate to comment, no, in the comment section. Even if the live is done or you watch this after the live, you can still comment. I will try to respond to your queries if you have. I would love to, kanang connect with you actually. Okay, so okay, that's it for now. I just do hope no that you will find courage to study more, to do your best for the September licensure examination for teachers. Okay? Wag maging kampante. Time is so fast when reviewing. So don't waste time and see you on our next session. That's all for now. Goodbye and God bless. This is Sir John.